welcome back to another one of our Outlander After Show book clubs. I am Keetin Marchi, your host, and we have Miss Jennifer Barnes here, our resident book expert.
Hi, how are you?
And our Outlander / non-book reader, Mr. Ryan Hooks.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And make sure you guys subscribe to theStreamtv because we would not be here if it wasn't for them. So let's jump right into this episode. This was for the finale, so episode 16, To Ransom a Man's Soul. Let's talk about the escape first. Jamie's escape from Wentworth prison. The things that were kind of similar were obviously the cows. Murtaugh's great idea about the cows. And also the fact that Blackjack Randall got trampled to death. Yay!
That's right, but you know, there are a few things that were missing, and I'm interested to hear Ronald D. Moore's take on this, but there was no snow. You know, in the book it's snowing like crazy, so we didn't have that in there. Claire kills a redcoat at one point, if you remember from the books, and that's like a big deal for her to kill that guy. And then Claire is not in pants in the book, and they go straight to the monastery in the show, but and it's in Scotland, whereas in the book, of course, they sail across and go to France, where the monastery is.
Well, so. And Jamie's initial kind of recouping happened at McRannoch's place.
Right. What do you think of that? Do you wish there was snow in the episode?
You know, I'm never opposed to snow in an episode because it always looks great on camera. But I don't know if it would have added or hindered the episode at all if the weather was different. If anything, I think it would have just made me feel worse for Jamie laying on the floor, knowing that it's snowing outside and he's naked in the cold prison. I wish Blackjack would have been trampled more.
Yeah.
Well, the snow in the book, and what I kind of miss about the snow was that I feel like it heightens the everything for the people outside of the prison trying to get in because they're really dealing with the elements, and they use the snow kind of against the redcoats. To be able to escape.
Because in the episode they were outside doing drills and guns and that kind of stuff, so they wouldn't maybe not have been out there. Because later Murtaugh says they were outside making so much noise they didn't hear us coming anyway.
Yeah.
So it was allowing them to get in without having issues.
So Blackjack, Randall, and Jamie in the dungeon, the similarities are the torture and rape sequences, the branding, Jamie brands himself, and twisting Blackjack Randall's touch with Claire, which is just sick.
Right, and I feel like, honestly, those kept pretty close to the book, but, you know, seeing it's always harder, I think, than reading it. Seeing it really gets thrown in your face just how graphic it was. And then also, you know, in the book, which I kind of missed in the episode, Blackjack Randall has this sequence on page 831, and I'm just going to quickly say a little bit of that. He said, I love you, over and over with his tears and his spittle running down my chest. That's what Jamie says about Blackjack Randall.
Ew.
And he said, I cannot think why I did it, but I put my arms about him. We just lay still for a bit. He stopped crying finally and kissed me and stroked me. Then he whispered to me, tell me that you love me. That would have been really interesting to see them handle. But, you know, I still think it was great. What do you think, Ryan?
Well, it was a tough episode to watch.
Yeah. Lots
of going on in there. I don't know if, I'm glad that everything that was done was great.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to win an award for sure because they're doing something on TV that...
Hashtag Emmys for Outlander.
Hashtag Emmys for Outlander.
Emmys for Outlander.
Nothing has been done like this on TV before. I've watched TV for a long time and a lot of TV. And this is, I mean, by far the farthest I've seen something pushed.
Right. Well, let's talk about the monastery, which was very different than what it is in the book. But the general characterization of the priest was similar. Claire's confession, his reaction in the chapel.
Father Anselm. Yeah. You know, in the book, they meet late at night over a course of many days. Claire keeps seeing him going to pray at like this late night hour, and she joins him. And they have like this nice relationship over the course of a few weeks before she finally confesses to him. Obviously, they had to condense it for the show, but yeah, I mean, overall, pretty similar.
So one night stand.
No, it was good. That was one of my favorite scenes in the whole show in terms of a positive scene.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool scene. I love the way that he spun it. You know, like I said, it was a miracle that she came through the stones, and you know, I'm really glad that that's in this show.
Yeah, that they kept it in. Glad it made it in.
Even to condense it some made it great to watch.
Yeah.
So healing Jamie within the book, I mean, the splinting of his hand is very similar. Jamie doesn't, he doesn't eat, he gets the fever. That was the same, and Jamie doesn't feel fit to be loved by Claire anymore, which we saw very amazingly portrayed by Sam Heughan. Like, seriously, oh my gosh.
Heartbreaking, so sad. You know, the only little difference is, as we said already, the initial healing was at McRannoch's place. We didn't have that convo with Murtaugh and Gallic in the book, but it totally could have happened, and I'm glad that that was there. It was a really cool scene. And then, of course, in the book, Claire's exorcism of his soul is a little more violent. There's a little more rolling around all over the place, and he nearly chokes her at one point. But, you know, that made it in when they initially got him onto the wagon, when they got him out, he choked her. So I'm glad that that was there somewhere. What do you think, Ryan?
I'm glad it worked the way that it worked. I feel like too much more of the exorcism would have been too much. Because I already feel like some of the scenes with Blackjack and Jamie sort of like were a little too long. Because there's just an uncomfortableness about it. And I'm actually glad, going back to what we were talking about when they traveled, instead of going from Scotland to France in the book, I'm actually glad that they did it and they went somewhere close. Because I would have felt like, really, he's not fit to travel, but yet they travel to France and then she heals him. See,
no, and that kind of is what bugged me about it, is because within the book, because Jamie does like Jamie almost dies on the boat going over to France, like because he gets so seasick and it has a fever and all this, like it's terrible. Sick. And so he kind of, I feel like they took a little bit away from how badass Jamie is, and all that he went through even more after.
They added that seasickness in later where he's like, oh yeah, I heard you get seasick.
Right.
Yeah.
So
well, and I'm sure we'll see a little bit next season too.
You know, also I feel like in the book, Jamie got beat up way worse.
Yeah.
There was way more done to the rest of his body as well. I think he had like a broken rib and probably some other fractures elsewhere. But you know what? I mean, overall, I think they did a great job.
Great episode either way.
Yeah, so
great episode.
But similar things to them leaving and how they left. The mood is overall very optimistic at the end of this book. Everybody's very happy. We know Claire is pregnant. Murtaugh goes with them, and plans for Paris and the Jacobite cause is introduced. And Jamie and Claire's involvement with changing the future.
Right, and you know, I missed Jamie not sneaking off to Claire's room to make love. Which they do in the book. You know, in the monastery, he crawls down the stair. He goes down the hallway to find her room, and the hot springs. I mean, I know Diana Gabaldon. Why did you not put the
hot springs in? Why?
Yeah, apparently Ron was telling Diana that he just couldn't make it in there, and he said, "But here's what I'm going to do," and she was okay with it. But that hot spring scene would have been hot.
It'd been hot, and like that's like how he finally healed.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that. I was waiting for that scene the entire episode, and I was so bummed that it didn't get involved.
Are you sad, Ryan?
I'm staring at you blankly because I don't know more details besides what you just told me.
They go into hot springs.
It's similar to Game of Thrones.
And that's where she tells him that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I'm sure it's lovely, and I don't feel cheated.
And it helps him heal.
Ryan's going to have to read the books to figure out.
The sexual one over here,
you have
not making a sexual comment. You're welcome.
Well,
I mean, I would have added, I think.
Well, we are out of time, but thank you guys so much again for watching our Outlander After Show here on theStream.tv, as well as tuning in to our book club all season long. Make sure you interact with us via Twitter, via YouTube, via all social media, and we will catch you next season, season 2 of Outlander. See you next time.
Bye.